What do you get when you combine the indestructibility of a Nokia brick phone, the stubbornness of a toddler who refuses bedtime, and the footwork of a caffeinated gazelle? No, not a Marvel character. You get Rafael Nadal, tennis official CEO of Nope, not done yet. Today we're breaking down the top 20 never give up moments from the man who treats 5-hour matches like warm-ups and injuries like minor suggestions. Buckle up, hydrate, stretch, maybe tape your knees just to empathize. Let's do this. 20. Madrid 2005, baby Rafa learns the word pressure. 19-year-old Rafa, clay courts, Spain, and an opponent who clearly didn't read the script, Ivan Lubisic. Down 2 sets in the final, Nadal plays like someone who just realized the trophy comes with free home-cooked paella for life. He claws back, wins in 5, and announces to the tennis world, "Hi, yes, I will now dominate this surface for roughly forever." If you think teenager Nadal was scary, wait until you see adult Nadal after smelling even a whiff of adversity. Onward. 19. Rome 2006. Federer throws the kitchen sink. Rafa returns it with topspin. Federer's playing pristine. Rafa's wobbling like a shopping cart with a broken wheel, and the Rome crowd is losing its mind. But in the 5th set tiebreak, Nadal turns into a gladiator with Wi-Fi connection straight to Olympus. He defends match points and wins. Federer later asked, "What more could I have done?" Answer: brought a chainsaw. Momentum? That's cute. Nadal prefers chaos. Let's add some more. 18. Wimbledon 2007. Grass? What grass? Nadal on grass used to look like a fish accidentally dropped on a putting green. But facing Soderling and Yuzhny in brutal, drag-out matches, Rafa survives multiple near exits to reach the final. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't natural. But it was peak. I refused to lose Rafa. And speaking of grass, let's talk about the day he turned the tennis world into a thriller film. 17. Wimbledon 2008. The eternal final. Federer at Wimbledon is like Wi-Fi in a library, inexplicably strong. But after dropping momentum in multiple sets, Nadal grinds through rain delays, darkness, and the emotional stress equivalent of filing taxes blindfolded. He wins. Tennis history changes. Cinema wishes it had this match. But you know what's scarier than beating Federer on grass? Beating physics. 16. US Open 2013. The impossible running forehand. Nadal's running forehand against Djokovic in the US Open final defied gravity, logic, and possibly 2 sections of the rulebook. From practically the parking lot, Rafa uncorks a winner that shifts the whole match. You can actually see Djokovic's soul briefly leave his body. That forehand was rude, but Rafa can get ruder. 15. Australian Open 2009, the Ironman match. A semifinal versus Verdasco that lasted longer than a flight from Europe to Australia. 5 hours and 14 minutes of blazing forehands, sweat, and emotional trauma for fans. Rafa wins, then somehow beats Federer in the final 2 days later. Most humans can't even recover from leg day that fast. Speaking of comeback metabolism, let's talk about Vampire Rafa. 14. Roland Garros, 2011. The "I'm not losing on clay, don't even try" moment. Down a break to John Isner. Isner, aka serve with legs, in the first round. It looked dicey. Commentators panicked. Nadal calmly activated unbreakable mode and said, "Gentle reminder, this is my house." He survives, then wins the whole tournament. But surviving Isner is one thing, surviving injury is another. 13. US Open 2017, the injury resurrection arc. After months of injuries, doubts, and people writing think pieces like, "Is Nadal done? LOL," Rafa rolls into New York and turns the entire draw into clay with attitude. He claws through tight moments early on, then crushes the back end of the tournament to win the title. Never ask if he's done. He'll make you regret it, but sometimes the comeback begins within the match. 12. Roland Garros 2013, Djokovic versus Nadal, the clay supernova. Down a break in the 5th, Djokovic pushing him to his outer limits. Rafa counterpunches like a bull who found espresso. The intensity hits volcanic levels, and Nadal survives in what many consider the greatest clay match ever. Paris traffic has less drama. Now let's sail to the surface where Rafa was never supposed to thrive. 11. Wimbledon, 2011. The foot injury plot twist. Mid-tournament, Nadal visibly limping, commentators whispering like they're reporting from a crime scene. But he powers through multiple rounds, making the final because apparently pain is just a warm suggestion to him. Ready for chaos? Let's enter challenge mode Rafa. 10. Australian Open 2017. The vintage duel with Federer. Down a break in the 5th, momentum slipping, Federer zoning. Nadal still surges back and nearly flips the entire match. Even in defeat, this was textbook Rafa. Pressure turns him into a sentient championship point. But the actual comeback masterpiece? Oh, we're getting there. 9. Roland Garros 2005. Young Rafa versus old nerves. On his first French Open run, he survives tight early rounds, pressure moments, and the weight of being the new clay phenom. He doesn't crack, he conquers. And he starts a dynasty longer than most TV shows. Speaking of dynasties, cue the Rafa level stubbornness. 8. US Open 2010, the serve upgrade miracle. Nadal literally re-engineered his serve mid-career to survive Djokovic, Murray, and big servers. That's like switching languages mid-sentence and still sounding fluent. A technical comeback, and it won him the title. Okay, ready for emotional damage? It's Medvedev time. 7. ATP Finals, indoor Nadal says nope. Indoors, his weakest conditions. Nadal repeatedly survives near elimination matches, especially against Medvedev in 2019, where he saves a truckload of breakpoints and pulls off a Houdini comeback. Gravity bends for him. So does narrative structure. But that's just the trailer. Let's get to the feature film. 6. Australian Open 2022, the start of the miracle run. Nadal enters the tournament after months off with a foot injury that made movement feel like stepping on Lego. He battles through the early rounds, grinding through tiebreaks and mini-scares, warming up for absolute madness to come. Because now we ascend to the Pantheon. 5. Quarterfinal versus Shapovalov. Pain? What pain? Mid-match, Nadal's overheating, dizzy and visibly hurting. Shapovalov storms back. Momentum is in Canada's favor, but in crunch time, Rafa focuses, recalibrates, and steals the match with sheer grit. This was survival mode with spin. And if that sounds dramatic, wait for what comes next. 4. Semi-final versus Berrettini. Old man strength activated. A younger, stronger, faster opponent. But Nadal drags him into long rallies, breaks him mentally, and cruises to the final with the energy of a guy who never got the memo. He's supposed to be tired. Which brings us to the most disrespectful comeback in tennis history. 3. Australian Open 2022 final, down 2 sets. Medvedev dominating, Nadal wobbling, crowd anxious, Twitter melting, every stat model predicted doom. And then Nadal said, nah, let's play another 3 hours. He resets mentally, defends like a medieval fortress, and flips the whole match. But he's not done. Not even close. 2. The 5th set, the mental Fort Knox moment. Up a break, but pressure sky high, Nadal holds firm in every nerve-shredding moment. Medvedev pushes, claws, scrambles, and Rafa responds with shot-making so bold it should have come with a parental advisory label. And then, there was one. Championship point. The ultimate never give up. After 5.5 hours of tennis warfare, Nadal completes the greatest comeback of his career, from 2 sets down in a slam final, becoming the first man to reach 21 majors. The crowd explodes. Commentators melt. History bows. Rafa simply smiles like he just finished a light jog. If you enjoyed this breakdown of Rafa's most outrageous, logic-breaking, gravity-mocking comebacks, smash that like button like Nadal smashes inside-out forehands. Drop a comment telling me which moment made you yell at your screen. And subscribe for more high-energy tennis deep dives. Because around here, we never give up on the next great story. Vamos.